My name is Joe. 20 years ago, my wife and I moved to Lake County with our 4 young children and settled down. In that time, we've worked, worshiped, played, and raised our family. Today, I've met the people and discovered the businesses and organizations that make up a vibrant, dynamic community. Join us as we share with you what makes South Lake great. I'm Joe, and Joe knows South Lake. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy Halloween and a happy South Lake morning. It is Thursday. I am Joe Carlisle, and this is Joe Knows South Lake. How are you doing today? If you're at all like me, you're probably a little worn out and tired. I am ready for October to be over. My wife and I were not real big fans of Halloween, mostly because it inhibits all of my television watching. I'm not a fan of horror, so anyways, we'll get into that later. We have a great show for you today. Obviously, we're going to talk about Halloween and trick-or-treat. It is actually, we're going to talk about Knock Knock. I'm going to leave that there, see what you think about that. We're going to talk about the World Series and the Nats. We're going to move along. We missed yesterday. Thank you for being with us if you were here. If you weren't here, well, you're here today and I'm happy to have you. We're going to move on with our double-edged sword section about relationships from Cup of Joe. And finally, a very special guest today, Sergeant Malcolm Draper with the Clermont Police Department. He is a supervisor and he is one of their public relations and communications people. I'm so glad to have Sergeant Draper here because I've been trying to get him for a little while. Today was a perfect way to get it because he is going to talk about Halloween safety. How do we keep our trick-or-treaters, our homes, our cars, how tonight can be a time of celebration and fun for everybody, and we have no problem. So when we come back, we're going to get into that. For now, we're going to hear from our family of sponsors. I'm so glad. Look, if you're not part of our family of sponsors, you better be calling me. You better be calling the station because you're going to miss out on the good prices. Anyways, can you tell I didn't sleep much last? How about it?
We'll talk about that in a minute.
Jay's giving me the break. We're going to go to break. We'll get started when we come back. See you in a minute.
Are you tired of having drugs or alcohol ruin your life? Do you need to get off pain pills but still maintain pain relief? My office in Tavares has programs to help you. While not covered by insurance, program fees are affordable. My name is Alan Zupkin. I'm board certified and have helped thousands of patients achieve these goals. Please call me for further information.
Welcome to Erica's Tea Room. Located in the heart of downtown Clermont, this specialty tea shop offers a traditional high tea experience that can be enjoyed with family and friends. While here, you can choose from over 100 teas from all over the world, and a multitude of teapots are available for purchase. Join us for lunch or choose from one of our special evening events. Call to make a reservation. Erica's Tea Room, making memories with every cup.
Welcome back. All right, so I got to warn you. Didn't sleep real well last couple of nights, so I'm kind of tired this morning. And you know, I feel bad for my wife because when I'm tired, when I'm really tired, I tend to not eat, which means I'm not just tired, but I get hangry. Coming in here, I appreciate you guys because I end up picking up the energy and I'm interacting with people who, you know, one, called me on my junk, which I met with some guys this morning. But two, I get to be in this atmosphere, and it just really kind of lifts my spirits because I really believe we're doing something really important here, informing the community, entertaining the community. You know, if you're not with us, well, you should be. Anyways, so I really appreciate Dr. Zubkin and Erica. Her mid-season finale is tonight. You got to tune in. It's going to be a wonderful episode, and you catch the next recipe. You know, you should be writing these recipes down. You should be making your own recipe book. Anyways, let's get started. Halloween. Do you know that in today's culture, Halloween has this rap of being evil, and I know people who say, well, Satanists say, well, this is my Christmas, and and I've known people say, well, it's Satan's birthday. If anybody ever says that to you, they're an idiot. Okay? Halloween started as a holy day. It was the night before All Saints' Day. It was All Hallows' Eve. And for the first 500 years of Halloween, the history was about kids going in and getting food and coins from the richer people in town. And the rich people in town were actually giving of the blessings of the harvest from their places. It had nothing to do with evil. It had nothing to... This is a modern concept, less than 100 years old. The idea that Halloween is this evil monster, Satan, much created by the Hollywood culture and the movie-making culture of the late 20s and early 30s. So don't let yourself be fooled. Halloween can be a nice time. And I brought my friend here. I hope you can see my friend Yorick. He was a good friend of mine. I knew Yorick pretty well, but that's in days gone by. That's actually for another show. Okay, those of you who are on social media, tell me who Yorick is and why I know him well. And if you can give me the reference, a $25 gift card to Starbucks. Woo. You got to be on the Facebook or the YouTube comments though. Come on. I'm serious here. I'm reaching my own pocket. $25 to Starbucks or Panera Bread or Dunkin' Donuts. Okay. You know what else it is? It is official Knock Knock Day joke. Knock Knock Joke Day. Wow.
Knock knock, Joe.
Knock knock who? All right, Jay. I told Jay he was going to play with me.
All right.
We're going to have a couple of my favorites here. And I warn you, I pretty much think my jokes are funny, so I'll try to get through them without laughing. I am that guy, yeah. Okay, Jay. Knock knock.
Who's there, Joe?
Banana.
Banana
knock
who?
knock.
Banana who?
Knock knock.
Who's there?
Banana.
Banana who?
Knock knock.
Who's there?
Orange.
All right, I got a split screen. This is getting ridiculous. Orange who?
Orange, you glad I didn't say banana?
I am. Yes.
Okay. Number 2, knock knock.
Who's there?
Djibouti.
Djibouti who?
Djibouti gonna be mad at me if I don't move on.
That is also true.
Official Knock Knock Day. Find a knock knock joke. Tell it to somebody. Have some fun today. Okay.
Knock knock, Joe.
Who's there?
Voodoo.
Voodoo who?
Who do you think you are asking me all these questions?
I think Joe knows. That's who I am.
All right.
Okay. World Series. I called it, Jay. Predicted this.
Yes, you did.
I predicted it. I predicted that it would go into, what was it, 6, 7 games?
Oh, yeah.
Why? It happens every single year.
Advertisers and sponsors.
Somebody is fixing this thing. I don't remember the last time a World Series was finished in 5.
This Game 7 brought to you by all these people.
Game 7 for the last 10 years. I think there was 1 year. I think like 3 years ago it was done in a 6-game streak. But I was right. That's all I got to say on the World Series. I also might add, I know there are a large number of you that are out there that are upset that the Nationals won because their fans booed Donald Trump. But what do you expect? They were playing in Washington. I mean, give me a break. Nobody's kidding themselves what the political proclivities are in the District of Columbia. So if that's upsetting you, get over yourself. The players worked really hard to get to where they were. They worked really hard to win the games. So, and since Joe knows sports, you should believe me.
Moving on.
Double-edged sword, cup of Joe. We're talking about relationships. Look, one of the keys that so many of us forget when we get into relationships is they are a double-edged sword. Now, that can be a blessing and a curse. That's what the concept of double-edged sword is. And what I mean by that is If you get into a relationship with somebody, you're getting into their life. And we see a lot of this in church and mentoring situations, okay? Where somebody wants to advise me in my life. And we get close enough because they're helping me grow and they're mentoring me. And then when I become mature enough and wise enough, or we delve into a subject that maybe I have some knowledge in, they don't want that mentorship back, okay? If you get into somebody's life, somebody should be getting into your life. Look, relationships are messy. That's the beauty of them. The strength of a relationship doesn't come from the good times. Look, I'll tell you something from 33 years of marriage. The strength of a marriage doesn't come from the hearts and flowers and the romance and the long getaway weekends and all of that. The relationships come from the strength of a marriage, and any relationship comes from the mess. The strength of my marriage comes from me being with my wife through hard times that she had, from my wife supporting me and sticking with me through times that she shouldn't have, when I really wasn't a good husband. You know, when I wasn't a good father, she stood by me. She kept encouraging me and praying for me. Look, if you really want to get into a relationship with somebody, you better be ready to let them into your life. And you better be ready to get your hands dirty, because a relationship, to become strong and intimate, needs to get messy. Anyways, moving on. Tomorrow we're going to talk about the mirror. And you should tune in for that. And finally, we are going to go to commercial break again. I'm going to hear from the family of sponsors. And when we come back, we're going to have my friend, Sergeant Malcolm Draper of the Clermont Police Department. He's going to tell us how to keep safe tonight on Halloween. He's going to go through these safety tips, and he's broken this down for us. And again, when we get back, he's going to walk through this. So I'll see you in a minute. Don't go away.
Hello, my name is Michael Singh with Singh Insurance and Financial Services. Our goal is to build trust based on a clear understanding of how your insurance policy protects you, your family, and even your business. When was the last time you took a good hard look at your insurance coverage? Would you be open to the possibility of reviewing your policy with me? One review of your policy can save you valuable time and money. Call me today to set up a review of what may be available to you.
Hello, I'm Mary Rhodes with the mortgage firm, your local mortgage lender. I've helped thousands of families achieve the dream of homeownership in Lake County, and I would love to help you. Our team has over 30 years of experience helping first-time homebuyers, veterans, move-up buyers, seasoned investors, and more. Please read our reviews and visit us at mortgagefirmpros.com.
The best things in life aren't items we can grab and hold. They are the moments that grab and hold us. Moments that captivate us, inspire us, and enrich us. Moments that bring joy, strength, and peace. At Singh Insurance and Financial Services, we help you to treasure these times by being there when life's most difficult moments arise. Through our services, you will find independence, flexibility, health, and security that will prosper and protect your life. Whether you are driving that new car, buying that new home, opening that new business, or building a new family, we provide you the peace of mind and freedom to enjoy life's best things. Your next moment is waiting. Are you ready?
Are you tired of having drugs or alcohol ruin your life? Do you need to get off pain pills, but still maintain pain relief? My office in Tavares has programs to help you. While not covered by insurance, program fees are affordable. My name is Alan Zupkin. I'm board certified and have helped thousands of patients achieve these goals. Please call me for further information.
Welcome back. Welcome. It's always so good to hear from our family of sponsors. If you are not using their businesses, you should be. And that comes straight from Joe's mouth. And Joe knows. How you doing,
Good
Sergeant?
morning, sir. How are you?
Do you prefer Sergeant or Officer or Malcolm? What?
You can call him Malcolm.
Malcolm.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. I usually work that out in the other room, but we were running today. Okay. We have Sergeant Malcolm Draper with us here today with the Clermont Police Department. He is an 8-year vet of our police department. Before that, he was a detective for the Howard County, Maryland Police Department. He was there 10 years. He has a Bachelor's of Administration of Justice from Arizona State. He has a Master's of Criminal Justice from Kaplan University. He serves on the Safety Board of the Forest Lake Seventh-day Adventist Church, and he is an adjunct professor of criminal justice. Malcolm, that means you are just one smart dude.
I appreciate all the support.
You know, I'm always humbled by the police officers that we get here because, you know, it really is. You know, I was in the Marine Corps. You know, but that's a short time period. I mean, I didn't spend a life at it. And when you choose law enforcement, you're spending a life at it. And I just want to say thank you for your service. Okay?
Absolutely. I appreciate it.
We brought you on to talk about safety. And, you know, we know that Halloween can be a fun time, but it can also be very dangerous. Would you give us an idea of some of the challenges you guys face? And what do you guys have to do to prepare for a day like Halloween? And I will tell you, as he was coming in, he is on the phone, 2 separate phone calls, and he's like, well, we're busy today. We got this guy and this guy and this guy. So give us an idea of that.
No, it's a great question. This time of year, we have increased pedestrian traffic, and that being our trick-or-treaters and our parents and adults that are walking our trick-or-treaters around. As you know, this time of year, we also have increased vehicular traffic from our snowbirds coming back in town. So we have those 2 things to deal with. But luckily, we have our patrol officers going to be making increased patrols in different areas where we know that our trick-or-treaters will be, you know, on foot. We also have additional officers for what we call saturation patrols. And they're going to be around. There's additional officers to make sure that everything is going smoothly. And if we see children walking in the middle of the street, we're going to remind them to get back on the lit sidewalk and those kind of things.
Saturation of additional officers, is that like all hands on deck, or is that like
it's generally
reserve officers you bring in?
Exactly, yeah. It's generally
volunteers and that sort of thing?
Yeah, they're usually in overtime. They're usually a couple, maybe 2 or 3 officers that are working in different parts of the city.
Now, let me ask you something. And we're about to go through your safety tips, and we talk about how you broke it down. Do you run into a problem with drinking? I mean, if it's not on the weekend, do you have a lot of partiers? Or
Yeah, traditionally this time of year we will have maybe some house parties. Luckily, our officers are familiar with, you know, how to use proper communication, and just we generally haven't had any issues, you know, knock on wood, recently. But yeah, we'll have additional people, house parties, which may or may not carry over into driving. So we want to make sure everyone's very safe in driving. We make sure they're not drinking and driving. Make sure they have a designated driver. Uber, Lyft, taxis. I mean, there's so many options.
There's no reason for you to drink and drive
yeah.
anymore. If you're at all inebriated or under the influence of anything, you know, and we're going to talk about CBD in a minute. But if you're at all impaired, there's no reason. With Uber and Lyft and all these other things, there's no reason for you to.
Absolutely, there's a lot of options.
Yes, there's a lot of options. So, all right, take us through. I know you've broken this down into 4 different things. Let's talk about trick-or-treaters.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. There's some safety things that trick-or-treaters themselves can take. And they're going to have a lot of help from their parents. We want to make sure they wear a costume that fits. You know, that's something that's kind of overlooked. We want to let when people tripping or have cumbersome masks or hats they can't see. We want to make sure they wear either light or lit up costumes. When I say lit up, I see you have glow sticks. Yeah,
I have glow sticks. And let me just say, I got these at a local grocery store. And, you know, these cheap things, right? This is, you know, you're supposed to be able to make glasses with it, but caution.
You grab that sword there.
Oh, yeah, here.
Yeah,
all the pieces were not in this particular one. But, you know, I'm sure even as I do this.
Right.
You know, this is glowing much better than it was 2 minutes ago.
So flashlights are great. Glow sticks are great. reflective tape. You can
Yeah,
put
and I
reflective
even
tape.
got one of the. I mean, these things are stupid cheap at any hardware store
Right.
or Walmart or anything. You know.
Yeah, a lot of options out there. We'll make sure they're using really good safety when they look both ways before crossing the street. We'll make sure that they're using crosswalks, not just walking directly in the middle of the street. And we'll also make sure this is one question that we didn't have to deal with when we were growing up for trick-or-treaters, and it's cell phones. A lot of parents ask us about cell phones,
yeah.
and should their children bring cell phones? And we say yes, as long as they're not texting when they're trying to walk around.
Sometimes that can be that light.
But it can be
Yeah.
the light, and it can also be a phone call. If they get lost, heaven forbid they get lost, or if they want to group back up with the group that they have lost, touch with, or it can be a light, or if need be, they can call us if they need to, if they get separated.
At what age would you suggest? Obviously trick-or-treaters should be ideally supervised.
Right.
At what age can they go out on their own without?
Super great question. Yeah, we recommend 12 under 12, accompanied by adults or parents. Anything over 12, they can go off their own. If they do go off on their own, we want to make sure that they're traveling in a normal path that they're familiar with, that they're staying on well-lit sidewalks and those kind of things. Now, that's going to be up to the parents, obviously.
Right. And
They
the
know their
maturity of
children.
the child.
Exactly.
But that generally, when they're moving into the puberty into teenage years, they're probably safer on their own. At least we hope they're smart enough to, get themselves out of trouble long enough to ask for help. Okay, so we talk about trick-or-treaters, and of course you mentioned drivers.
Drivers,
so
yeah.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, there's going to be just an increased amount of people walking around. So we'll make sure that they're using proper safety, and they're walking. They're aware. They're absolutely not texting and driving, and so they keep the distractions down, and they're looking around, especially when they come to intersections, when they're making turns, when they're coming out of driveways. Those are really the key times.
Yeah, the blind spots. And parents, we talk
Parents,
about parents.
yeah, absolutely. Parents can one thing is the candy. We want to make sure that they are still checking. That we're taking wrapped, packaged candy, nothing in baggies, nothing in anything you can't identify. That they're still inspecting them. We want this basic stuff that we've been doing for years. And you'd mentioned the THC.
Yeah.
Right, the THC, the tetrahydrocannabinol. That's the psychotropic property of things such as cannabis and hashish and marijuana. So those kind of things, we have not, thankfully not seen any instance of that. But like we were mentioning back in the green room there, we were mentioning that some of the packaging, THC, they can actually look like candy packaging. So it's up to the parents to be very cautious when they're looking at those things. Because those kind of things, I think they're called THC edibles, I think.
I think, don't want to correct, but I think we're talking, just to be fair, I think in this state we're talking more CBD, which has some of the similar effects, not THC.
Right. Well, the packaging will say a specific THC content on it. And it'll be very obvious. It should have a patch on it, usually green. And it'll say that they're different contact.
So I think, too, it's important for people to understand that you and I talked about grandma. Grandma's the only one we should take something out of a Ziploc bag in, right?
Yes, someone that you're very familiar with, that all those kind of things. But yeah, just your normal neighbor that you really don't know, just accept the regular packaged candy.
Because the CBD and THC edibles look surprisingly similar.
They look very similar
to the regular package. I mean, and they're sold as gummy worms, gummy bears, Sour Patch rings.
Right. And again, this is up to the parents to look at the actual the name of the candy will be something playing off of the THC quality. So it'll be, I've seen a couple of them on on newsreels and those kind of things where it just says high something or something. So it plays off of that quality.
I can remember my kids used to get so mad at me, but I had a hard and fast rule that they weren't allowed to eat anything that I had a question about the package.
Sure.
But I used to also tell them that prevents you from paying the dad tax. And the dad tax is a portion of your candy when you come home.
Right.
And my wife and I, some of that stuff we'd eat, some we'd throw away. I mean, you just don't take a chance on things like apples anymore,
right?
Because it can have things in it,
right? Exactly.
And no kid wants you to cut their caramel apple in half, but I'm going to make sure there's nothing in there that can
Right.
hurt somebody. So we talked about parents. You have these safety tips up here,
Yes,
but I
right.
want to touch on homeowners really quickly as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So homeowners, first off, one of the largest maybe calls we get are animals. So we'll make sure they keep their animals inside. This can be kind of confusing for animals when you have a lot of people coming up, walking up. So especially if they're greeting trick-or-treaters at the door, we'll make sure the animals are restrained and make sure they're not charging or jumping. They could just have completely lovable intentions like my dogs, but you
Mine's
might not
the same
know.
way,
Right?
Yep.
Exactly. So that's
You
one
don't want
thing.
to scare any kids unnecessarily.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, and we don't want them to get loose because, like I said, there's increased pedestrian traffic, increased vehicular traffic.
Do you deal with some of that? Has that been a challenge in the past, that there's maybe an increase in animal interactions?
Yeah, traditionally there is. Yes, absolutely.
All right, cool. So anything else for homeowners?
Well, just make sure if they are handing out candy, make sure that their porch is well lit. And we want to make sure. I know at times everyone likes their decorations, which is great. It's great. Just make sure that it's not on the pathway that you're expecting people to
Right,
walk.
right,
And
yeah.
so that's why we ask the kids not to cut across yards, because you're going to have your neat little decorations. There might be a tripping hazard there, but the pathways we're asking to be well lit and free from debris or decorations and those kind of things.
So can you bring those tips back up? Can you go through these with us? Is that mostly what we just talked about, or he's got this up on the screen now for people to follow along if you have anything you want to point out?
No, the only thing that I'd like to point out again is that they can go over the use of 911 with their kids.
Right.
And if they want to find any of these tips, I have it on our Facebook page and our Instagram and our Twitter page.
Okay, great. Great. I think Jay's going to bring those up really quickly for you.
Right. And I wanted to grab the sword. So one thing about going to the costumes. Okay, want to make sure that they're safe costumes.
Right.
I don't want to like Civil War sword walking around and then they hurt themselves.
samurai sword that's with sharpened, right.
Right.
Yeah,
Let's make sure. And then just your normal costumes you get from the sword. So the store, make sure that they're going to be safe for your child.
Right.
You know.
Which is why, if you want to hold that up
Yeah.
again, something like this is one of the reasons I picked it up, is because that's like perfect for a 5-year-old hand. He's going to love that. As he swings it around, it's going to make motion and sight. I'm always a fan of things like this.
Right.
Because I wish they'd had these when my kids were young. But you can get these long, and you can buy them in hardware stores. You don't have to get them in this expensive Halloween packaging. And you can put them around wrists, turn them into a necklace, anything that'll draw a driver's eye in the middle of the night,
Right.
when it's in the darker corners. So, it's been great having you on, man.
Great
Is there
being here.
anything else you want to oh, I know what we'd said. We had talked about... we talked about 911, obviously. Is there a place somebody can call if, if it's not an emergency, but they
Right.
see something that's just, because with costumes and masks, it tends to be, I'm sure, an opportunity zone for bad guys, and is there any place they can call if a homeowner sees something suspicious, or somebody's out walking their kids and they see something that's,
Right.
not quite off, maybe the grown man in a costume that's just not fitting with the vibe of the neighborhood?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That we have a non-emergency number if you just have maybe a question or something to relay to us. And that's going to be 352-394-5588. And you'll go through a series of prompts to get to, usually they'll send you to the dispatch, and they'll tell you.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure we can put that on our Facebook and
Right.
YouTube pages as well, just so it's out there. And I'm sure that's on your Facebook.
Yes, sir.
And,
and as
your
well
website.
as the city website. Yeah.
Good. Great. Well, Malcolm, it's been great having you
absolutely.
out
Great
here.
having me. Yeah.
Man, I'm actually so excited about this. We're having you guys back out for Christmas to do a holiday safety thing, and we're bringing the fire marshal out to talk about both in November and at the end of December. To talk about fire safety when it gets cold and people start pulling out the space heaters, and in November when people start pulling out those turkey fryers,
yeah,
and
absolutely.
putting up those dried out corn husks.
Right.
as decorations. So I'm really glad we did this, man. Thanks a
All
lot.
right, absolutely.
Hey, look, if you guys know of anybody that should be a guest on Joe Knows South Lake, please reach out to me. Jay has the information up on the screen. If you know anybody that should be advertising here on South Lake TV, or particularly would like to sponsor this show, Joe Knows South Lake, you can reach out to me. Call me, and I have a secret. Here's your Halloween secret. Ooh, you should be advertising on Joe Knows South Lake. Yeah, I know I'm cheesy. Jay's shaking his head, but he's also going, shut up, Joe, move on. All right. I'm getting to move it. Anyways, thanks for joining us. I really appreciate you. I want to remind you there is greatness inside you. And as our wonderful police do every day, showing their greatness to bring the greatness out of us, you can show your greatness. And I dare you to bring the greatness out of someone else. Thank you for joining us. This is Joe Carlisle. This has been Joe Knows South Lake. And I love you. See you later. Bye-bye. My name is Joe. 20 years ago, my wife and I moved to Lake County with our 4 young children and settled down. In that time, we've worked, worshiped, played, and raised our family. Today, I've met the people and discovered the businesses and organizations that make up a vibrant, dynamic community. Join us as we share with you what makes South Lake great. I'm Joe, and Joe Knows South Lake.